Teacher Talking Sports, what it does, what it do, how we live. And let's continue the series I've been doing where I attempt to name the best player in each NFL franchise's history, their all-time GOAT. I've been doing these in alphabetical order, and we are winding down as today we land on the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Seattle Seahawks have been a franchise since 1976, have only been known by that name. So they have been in the NFL for 49 seasons. Now, 2 off seasons ago, I did my NFL Mount Rushmores by teams, 4 best players in each franchise's history, at least in my eyes. Last off season, I did my NFL Mount Rushmores by position, 4 best players each position, NFL history. So before I take a look at the GOAT for each team, for each of these, I've been taking a look, revisiting the Mount Rushmore, seeing if I would make any changes. So in alphabetical order for the Seahawks, I included Walter Jones, ducked in the Hall of Fame in 2014, first ballot. Steve Largent, who had 13,089 receiving yards and 100 touchdowns in his career, all with the Seahawks. Bobby Wagner, a 9-time Pro Bowler, 6-time first-team All-Pro linebacker with the Seahawks. And Russell Wilson, who won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks and made 9 Pro Bowls. I'll keep it as is, but I remember when I did this, the hardest guy to leave off, and I definitely understand if you would consider him a Mount Rushmore guy, was Cortez Kennedy, former Defensive Player of the Year. Other honorable mentions include Kenny Easley, Sean Alexander, Jacob Green, Dave Craig, Matt Hasselbeck, and Kurt Warner, just to name a few. At the end, I'll go over some active players and if they have a chance to at least be Mount Rushmore guys. But anyhow, I had a tough time with this one. Really went back and forth between 2 guys. In the end, I consider the best Seattle Seahawk in team history to be left tackle Walter Jones. Jones was selected in the first round, 6th overall in the 1997 NFL Draft. As I mentioned, he was a first ballot Hall of Famer in 2014. Jones played all 12 of his seasons with the Seattle Seahawks. Accolades galore. He was a 9-time Pro Bowler, a 4-time first-team All-Pro, part of the Hall of Fame All-2000s team, and part of the NFL's 100th anniversary team. Let's take a look at his season-by-season numbers via his Pro Football Reference. And, of course, offensive lineman, there's not much stats to show, but as you can see, Jones was the starting left tackle for all 180 of his appearances in the NFL, a guy who played more often than not. 7 of his 12 seasons, he appeared in all 16 games for the Seahawks, listed at 6'5", 325 pounds. Just was a pain for defenders to try to get around as they would attempt to rush the quarterback. One of the best offensive tackles, really, in NFL history. When I did my NFL Mount Rushmore by position, when I got to the offensive tackles, I included Walter Jones, along with Jonathan Ogden, Jim Parker, and Anthony Munoz. So, again, just unreal how good he was at stopping the opponent in his career. So he played 12 seasons in the NFL. Altogether, he allowed 23 sacks and had 9 holding penalties. So, teacher me says, boop, boop, boop. That's 3/4 of a holding penalty a season and 1 in 11/12 sacks allowed per season. So, again, he played nearly every game. So, ridiculous, because as a left tackle, he was facing the opposing team's best pass rusher the majority of the time, and yet he very rarely allowed them to sack the quarterback. I mean, those stats are absurd. Just shows you that he did it the right way. and was a force to be reckoned with. So, tough one. I went Walter Jones as the best Seattle Seahawks player of all time. Now, this was a tough one. Really, all four of the Mount Rushmore guys, you can say, have a case, but the toughest guy to not name as the GOAT of the franchise, Steve Largent, again, 100 receiving touchdowns in his career. When he retired, he had a lot of the wide receiver records, so I definitely would understand if you decided to consider Largent as the best player in franchise history. But if we look at active players, I've been taking a look at active rosters for all of these, seeing if I consider anyone to be a threat for the GOAT or at least maybe a Mount Rushmore guy. Honestly, no one's going to pass Walter Jones. I mean, the Seahawks do have some good players. Notably, there are two wide receivers, Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. But both of those guys, I don't anticipate ever being considered better than Steve Largent. Bobby Wagner was on the team last year, has left for the Washington Commanders. Devin Witherspoon made the Pro Bowl as a rookie. Fifth overall pick last year. It's way too early to have any consideration as to whether he would belong on something like this. So, no, I don't anticipate anyone on their active roster making the Mount Rushmore. But let me know again in the comments, you agree with the Mount Rushmore. Do you think Walter Jones is the best of all time Seattle Seahawks history? Do you think Steve Largent, or do you think someone else? This was one of the more challenging ones, really, between two guys. But stay tuned for tomorrow when I take a look at who is the best Tampa Bay Buccaneer in franchise history in my eyes. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.